You may wonder why I switched to layer milk. Well, I got hooked after my fitness trainer told me about the good stuff inside. You should try it.
Exercise and making good nutrition decisions like drinking calcium-enriched loyal milk every day is vital because it helps you nourish your bones and body so that you can live a more active life every day.
That's why I encourage my clients and ensure that my family gets their loyal milk too.
So, make that switch to calcium-fortified loyal milk because it's what's inside that matters.
Welcome back. Hadiza, your father, more or less an institution in ABU, well known for being fearless, for his radical beliefs, took on the authorities when he believed an injustice has been committed. Is there a connection between what you do now and the way you were raised and your father's beliefs?
Well, absolutely, because my dad has always taught all of us to stand up for any injustice and not to think of ourselves as we do anything. We have to be fearless, we have to be very courageous, we have to know right from wrong. So from a very young age, you know, I have been brought up to understand and know that fighting for injustice is something you do, and you're understanding that any repercussion that comes to you should be willing to take it.
Tell me about how this manifested in sort of day-to-day life when you were being brought up. Did he, you know, was it just in terms of the way the books he encouraged you to read? Did he encourage you to go on demonstrations with him? How did this manifest?
Well, it's more to do with, we have a huge library. My father is an avid reader. We're all avid readers. And also the fact that we discuss and debate on issues with my family. My dad makes us understand decisions, understand policies, as opposed to just believing in someone. Because I remember when I was working at the BPE, we were working on privatization. And my father is someone that believes strongly that utilities should not be privatized. So
he was a socialist,
yes,
wasn't he?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we had that debate continuously. So every time I went home to Zion on weekends, he had printouts that he used to post on the notice board in the house and write my name on it. So when I come, he says, "Have you read that?" And then we have a discussion on the fact that I remember Enron happened then. So he had a lot of, say, look what happened with Enron, a lot of examples. So we were brought up in an environment of active debate and actively questioning things and knowing that you have a right to demand for answers. So even as a family, we used to ask my dad, you know, specifically, why is it like this? And he encouraged us to do that and to understand leadership is more to do with understanding the direction of the leader. Following someone blindly is not something that I was brought up to know.
What do you miss about him?
I miss him being my dad, because I remember when he passed away, I kept saying, he's just my dad. You know, a lot of people would come to the house, he's this to me, and I said, he's just my dad that calls me and we have a good laugh. There's a Popeye show cartoon, and there's the Olive, he calls me Olive because of very thin. So I miss my dad so much.
And what do you think is his sort of legacy?
Well, there is, because there's a Hadiza Bala Usman Institute in Zaria. He had been working at that think tank, Center for Democratic Development, Research and Training, before he passed away. So the institute exists, is a think tank. The people that worked with him while he's alive are working there. They're doing a lot of research on democracy. So that is a legacy that he has. And he's had loads of students that he taught. So we have a huge Hadiza Bala Usman extended family that cuts across everywhere, even in South Africa. I remember we had the ANC people coming to Nigeria when they were in school in Nigeria. They used to stay in our house. So we have that extended family.
Now, earlier when you were talking about your relationship with him, you talked about the fact that on some things ideologically, you disagreed. So he was, for example, socialist, believed in public ownership of certain things. You, to a certain extent, believe that, you know, there are things that should be privatized, and you did some work with BPE. This paradox also seems to be manifesting in your own private life. You are a card-carrying member of the APC. As far as I know, your husband, Dr. Tanimu Kofi, used to be in the Aradua government and was a card-carrying member of the PDP. Is he still a card-carrying member of the PDP, and how do you guys reconcile these differences?
Well, he's not in the PDP anymore.
Okay.
But at the point where I was contesting for CPC in 2010, he was in PDP then.
Did you influence him to leave the PDP?
I did not influence him to
Are
leave
you
the
sure
PDP. I'm
about
very
that?
sure about that, because through my elections, he had remained in PDP.
And there was no issues at that time, the fact that you belonged to two different political parties.
What we have is active debates on saying that your party has not led us anywhere. So as a result, show me what has been done to make me want to belong to your party. So those active debates are what would ensue and what ensued with my father, and what really drives me with working with people, because you need to make me understand and have reasonable, convince me that what you're doing is the right thing. I'm not a blind follower.
And now that you're with the APC and he's left the PDP, is he in active politics? Has he followed you into the APC, or is he saying basically, you know what, enough, I'm not going to be an active politician anymore?
He's not in active politics.
Are we likely to see you run for office again in the future?
I wouldn't rule it out, and at the same time, I would not say yes. We'll see how things evolve. Definitely for 2015, I'm not there. But for 2019, we'll wait to see, God willing, what the situation brings up then.
Now, part of the advocacy that your father did, obviously because of his social beliefs, is him pushing for justice for the poor. Do you believe in that as well? And how does that work, given that you come, if you like, from a position of privilege?
For me, my privilege is more to do with what I've learned, being brought up in a university, having the knowledge that I have, which is why I use it to speak out for people, speak out for the Chibok girls, because my having gone to school and have the capacity that I have, I should not keep quiet. I should use that voice to advocate for anything that, any disadvantaged group. At the same time, within the context of my community, my constituency, I work on providing support, especially in education of the girl child.
And given the issues that women face in education in the North, is it your view that that needs to change? And if so, what is sort of your party's position on female education, particularly for northern girls who are disadvantaged?
Our party has a national broad framework on advocating for the education of the girl child. We have made provision for the state governments to take that on for implementation, because some of the key content of the education of the girl child falls within the purviews of the state government. So we have done a broad policy trust and statement in that regard, and the respective manifestos of each of our state governors will take that on, because you can see there are different peculiarities
from place to place.
From place to place. So in the northeast, there is a strong drive, but it might be different from the north central. It's definitely different from what we would have in the southwest.
Hadiza Bala Usman, thank you so much for being a guest on Straight Talk.
Thank you so much for having me, Kadaria.
You've been watching Straight Talk with me, Kadaria Ahmed. My guest was Hadiza Bala Usman, the co-founder of the Bring Back Our Girls movement. We discussed her advocacy for the return of the Chibok girls, her father's legacy, her role in the opposition's All Progressive Congress, and why she believes that her party's presidential candidate, Major General Muhammadu Buhari, is capable of tackling the Boko Haram insurgency if he becomes president in February 2015. Join me next week when I'll be in conversation with another special guest. Have a very good evening.